Listen, why did you decide to step down as co-leader of the party now, after 17 long years?
Well, it has been a very long time, and the main thing I want to say is thank you to everybody, the thousands of Green campaigners and the hundreds of thousands of supporters around the country who've given me the chance to serve in this way. I think it's really important in the run-up to an election to consider whether the party needs a new face to join the leadership team. I think I've reflected in the press, actually, in a couple of places this weekend, that if we hadn't had the opportunity to enter government for the first time at the start of this parliamentary session, it's possible I might have made this decision a wee bit earlier, actually, because you always keep thinking, is it right for me to keep in this role, or should I move on and let somebody else have a shot? I've decided now that the time is right. And I'm looking forward to hearing the ideas and the optimism and the drive and the determination of people who are putting themselves forward for the role.
Well, this is a moment for reflection, as you say, and I've read a lot of the pieces that you've contributed to in the press this week, both interviews with you and profiles of you. The one thing that comes up in all of them, I suppose, is that you're considered to be a divisive figure in Scottish politics. Would you accept that characterisation?
No, I don't think so. I think the Greens and myself as a person have always tried to seek out the common ground between political parties, work together and bring constructive ideas to bear. And I think that's got a track record of success. That's why Scotland has more progressive taxation than the rest of the UK, able to fund things like the Scottish Child Payment and free bus travel for young people. That's because Greens didn't just say, here's what we believe in, but sought out common ground with others and tried to make change happen.
I mean, somebody said of you this week, there are no shades of grey with Patrick. If you're not in lockstep with what he thinks, then you're the enemy. That's unfair.
It doesn't sound like someone who's met me.
Well, I mean, look, Robin Harper, Andy Whiteman, both big senior figures, big intellects in your party, left because they weren't in lockstep with you. Would they agree with that characterisation, do you think?
No, I don't think there was anything personal about any of that. They each had, at different times and I guess reached the conclusion in different ways, the conclusion that they couldn't support the party's equality policy. Policies that are adopted by our entire party membership, debated, scrutinised and voted on, and have the support of the overwhelming majority of the party. And if any member decides, as Jamie Green has decided, he can't support the current Conservative Party, then they'll have to make a decision. I'm very convinced that the Scottish Green Party's approach on equalities is the right one, and I'm very glad that there is at least one political party standing up to the modern waves of prejudice and hostility and some of the toxic values that are infecting a lot of our politics at the moment.
At this time of reflection, then, what regrets do you feel? I mean, from your own perspective, not the way our politics is going, not those predictable answers, but what particular about your party's performance, if anything, do you regret?
I think the biggest mistake that we made and that I feel I was part of was back in my first session, session 2 of the Scottish Parliament. We'd gone from 1 seat to 7. Explosive growth in terms of parliamentary presence, but it wasn't built on firm foundations in terms of the growth of the party in the country. And right at the start of that session, a lot of political commentators looked at the Greens and didn't really know what we're about. We hadn't built any political credibility. We spent that first couple of years building political credibility, and I think at that point we should have pivoted and said, right, now we need to build the party in the country. And by the end of that session in 2007, we had political credibility. We'd built up a great deal of respect for the way that we engage in parliamentary debate, but we hadn't built the party, its campaigning capacity out in the country. Well, and so we lost a lot of those seats. Most of those seats went down to...
Just over a decade later, quite the opposite, you found yourself in a government ministry.
Absolutely.
Do you regret the way that ended, the Bute House agreement ended? Apparently, we keep being told after an interview on that chair.
Yeah, I hugely regret the fact that Humza Yousaf decided to unilaterally pull the plug on an agreement that had locked in a progressive pro-independence majority government when we know how turbulent the Parliament can be without a clear majority. And, I think he's reflected on the fact that whether what he did or how he did it was a mistake as well. And now with Greens out of government, we're seeing a raft of policies, whether that's progressive climate policies, the kind of stuff that can get Scotland back on track in tackling the climate emergency, or indeed social justice policies like protecting tenants who are at the moment facing eye-watering threats of rent increases at the moment. Those temporary protections have now been scrapped altogether.
What does that tell you about the government?
That's going to cost households in Scotland far more than the hike in energy bills or the UK government's attack on the social security system.
Last question, entirely predictable question. You're moving on. Who's next? Who should replace you?
Well, I don't think you're the first person to ask, but you won't be surprised to know that I'm not going to be endorsing anyone. We don't even know who the runners and riders might be. The really important thing, though, is what are the ideas coming forward?
Should Lorna Slater stay on, your co-leader?
Lorna said she wants to restand. The party knows that she's well capable of doing that job to a high standard.
Are you serious?